In this video, we will start adding validation to our text field, okay? I know in the previous video, we said we are going to implement our authentication, okay? But I think it makes more sense for us to start with this validation, okay? What I mean by validation is this. Every time we tap on this login button, if we don't have a valid email or a valid password, we will get this error message, okay? As you guys can see, invalid credentials, okay? So those messages help us to protect our database, okay? What I mean by protecting our database, let's say for example that the user tap on this button like by mistake, okay? You never know, okay? It might happen. And every time that a mistake is made, we don't want to hit our server, okay? That's why we need this front-end validation, okay? So in this video, for the sake of this video, what we will do, we will add a validation, but only for an empty email, okay? So if this email text field is empty, what we want to do, every time we tap on this login button, we want to show a validation error message, okay? So with that said, what we want to do, if we go to our code, the first thing we want to do, we want to add a non-click listener, okay, on this primary button, okay, because this login button is our primary button, okay, and right now we are not able to tap on it, okay, because as you guys can see here, we simply added this print message, okay, but what we want a way to get it here in this login view, okay. So how are we gonna to do that? In order to bring this action to our login view, what we can do, we can say that after this title, what we want to add a variable, and we call it let's call it action, okay? And this action, we want it to be returning void, okay? So now that we have this, every time we tap on this button, we don't want to print this anymore, so we can call this. And yeah, instead of handling this by ourselves, what we want to do, we simply want to say that, okay, anytime we call this action, you will execute this action, okay? So if this is confusing, guys, don't worry, I will explain it even more. So here we have an error, so if we fix this, and yeah, we can simply provide an empty action. And here normally we are supposed to also have an error. Let's fix this. And now inside this action, what we want to say that for this action, we want to implement on what we want to do for this action, okay? And what we want to do for now, let's just print, okay, what we had before. So we can simply print this. And I believe we use this primary button in our sign up view too. So if we go to a sign up view, let's see, okay, we also have this button. So if we do the same thing, and yeah, what we want to do, we want to say that for now we won't do anything, we simply print this message, okay? And normally everything should be okay. If we build this, let's see if we have any errors. And we have another error because we also use this inside our main view, okay? So let's fix this, okay? And we want to do the same thing. For now, we don't want to do anything. We simply want to print this message, okay? And normally if we build it again, okay, perfect, everything is working properly, okay? So now every time we tap on our button, let's resume our preview. So every time we tap on this button, we are supposed to see this button tap, okay? And just to make sure that it's this code, we can say button tap from login view. And if we hit, let me maybe clear this, and if we tap on this button again, okay, button tap from login view, okay, so perfect. So now we are able to get the logic here on this login view, okay? So if you guys didn't get what I just did, so before we had this primary button, okay, but this action was only here, okay? But we don't want this. We don't want this because we are using this on my primary button inside this login view, and also inside our sign up view, okay, and even inside our main view, okay. So if we have the logic only here on this button, we won't be able to customize it to login to different views, okay. But what we want to do, let's say for example here we want to log in, okay, and in our sign up view we want to use the same button, but we want to do something else, okay. So that's the reason why we have to bring it here, okay. So with that said, the next thing we want to do, we want to create a view model, okay, because we are good developers, okay. So we don't want to put our logic inside this view, okay. Our view is supposed to only display our data, okay. So that's what we will do. So if we go here on this view models folder, what we want to do, we want to create a new file, and it's gonna to be a Swift file, and we want to call it login view model. And now inside this login view model file, we can create a class and we call it login view model, and we want to make it an observable object. Okay, perfect. And now that we have this, what we can do, we can go on this login view, and we want an instance of this login view model, okay. So here we can create a state object, and we call it view model. And here we want to create an instance of this login view model, okay. So perfect. And now that we have our view model, what we can do, we can put our logic here, okay. So the first thing we want to do, we want to take this email variable, okay, because we don't want this logic to be on our view, okay. So we can comment this out, and here inside the login view model, we can create a publish variable, and we will call it email, okay. And we get this error because we have to initialize this, so we can initialize this to an empty string. And now if we go inside our login view, normally we are supposed to have this error, okay, because here it doesn't know this email anymore, okay, because we don't have this anymore. We can even delete this. And here what we want to do, we want to copy this view model, and we want it to take this email from our view model, okay. And I think everything is supposed to be working perfectly, but we have an error, and I guess it's because of this preview, because now we don't need this email anymore. So we can remove this, and we still have an error. Okay, I think I know why we have this error. It's simply because here, okay, we also have to remove this email, and we can also remove this, okay, because we don't need this anymore. And normally everything is supposed to be working. Okay, perfect. So now we are able to see a preview again, okay. So now the next thing we want to do, we want to add a validation, okay. So what we can do, we can come on this login view model, and we can create a new function for our validation, okay. So it's gonna to be func, and we will call it validate credentials. And inside this function, what we want to do, we simply want to check if our email is empty or not, okay. And if this email is empty, we want to show a message, okay. So here we can create a new variable, and we will call it show alert, okay. So show alert, and we want it to be a boolean, and by default we want to initialize this to false, okay. So now this show alert, what we want to say, that okay, this show alert, we want this show alert to be the value of this email, and check if this email is empty or not, okay. And I guess this is probably confusing for you guys. So what we can even do, let me comment out this, okay, and let's connect this view to our function first, okay. So here on our login view, what we want to do, instead of this print, what we can do, we can cut this, and what we can do, we can say that every time we tap on this button, this view, we want to call this view model, and we want to call this validate credential, okay. And now inside this login view model, what we can do, we can simply print this, okay. So button tab from view model. Okay, perfect. And now if we go back on our login view and we tap on this login button, normally we are supposed to see, okay, as you guys can see, button tab from a view model. Okay, so every time we tap on this, we are hitting this function. Okay, so that's perfect. So now what we want to say, that, okay, if this email, every time we tap on the button, we want you to check if this email is empty or not. Okay, if this is empty, return true. Okay, and it will return true and put this true inside this show alert. Okay, and now what we have to do now, we have to find a way to show our alert. Okay, in case this show alert is true, we want to show this alert. Okay, we want to show our alert. Okay, our alert message. Okay, so how can we do that? Well, in order to do that, what we can do inside this vstack, okay, or outside this vstack, we want to add this alert. Okay, so that alert, and we can pick this is presented. And now for this boolean, what we want to take a view model, and the boolean we want this show alert. Okay, so it's going to be show alert. And for the content of our alert, what we can do, we can create a new alert, and the alert we want this with title, message, and dismiss button. Okay, so we can pick this one. And for our title, what we can do, we can provide this text, and for the content of our text, we can simply say invalid credentials. Okay, perfect. Now that we have this title, we can also provide a dismiss button. Okay, so here, dismiss button. And what we want another text, so we can say text, and for the content of our text, we can simply say okay. Okay, perfect. So normally, now every time we tap on this login button, it will come here. Okay, it will change the value of this show alert. Okay, and this show alert return true, and because this is true, this alert will pop up. Okay, and we will be able to see this invalid credential. Okay, so let's see if we hit on this login button, and as you guys can see, we have this invalid credentials. Okay, so, and if we enter something, so let's enter something. Oops, and when I tap, it does not do anything. Okay, I think it's because, oh, why is it not showing anything? Okay, I don't know, but if we go back here, okay, and we put the value here, because this email is not empty anymore, normally it's supposed to not show our alert. Okay, so here we have this value, and if you hit on this one, as you guys can see, we are not able to show anything. Okay, but let's fix this. I don't know why we are not able to. Okay, oh, now it's working. Let me remove it and enter something. Okay, my bad. Now it's working. Everything is working. So if this is not empty, okay, if this is not empty, if we hit on this login button, as you guys can see, it won't do anything. But if we remove and we hit on this login, as you guys can see, we have a validation. Okay, but we are missing one more thing. Okay, because on a finish app, after this title, we have a message. Okay, so yeah, on this alert, what we want to do, we want to add another property. We call it message. Okay, and for message, for now, what we can simply do, we can say that, okay, yeah, we simply want to say invalid email, and normally everything is still supposed to work. So let's see. Okay, here I have a typo here, so here is text, and normally everything is supposed to work. So if this guy is empty and we hit on this, as you guys can see, we have this alert message, invalid credentials. Okay, invalid email. And if we enter something and we hit on this, as you guys can see, we don't have any error message. Okay, so that's it for this video. Of course, we won't leave it like this. Okay, because we want to be able to provide a structure validation for our email. Okay, because if I pull out the finish app, yeah, if we enter something that is not a valid email and I hit on this, as you guys can see, we have this invalid email format. Okay, so we want to actually check the format of this email. Okay, we don't want to simply check if this is empty or not. Okay, and we will see how to do this in the next video. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If that's the case, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.